This is the one that I actually messed up this morning. Okay, so problem 13. I did C. Yeah, because if I just noticed that B is a really great, awesome one to find the inverse of, but I wanted to kind of match the level of difficulty that's on the exam. Okay, so for C, it says f of x equals x plus 5 over x minus 8. My rules for finding the inverse are to switch my x and y variables and then to solve for y. This particular function, it's written with f of x. It's not written with y, but those are interchangeable. They are the same thing. So I'm going to write it with the variable y. I'm literally just rewriting the exact same. The only thing I did was I changed the f of x to y. So I just rewrote it. Now I actually follow the 2 steps, which is switch and solve. So switching gives me x equals y plus 5 over y minus 8. Okay, so now I'm solving for y. I've got a y in a numerator and I've got a y in a denominator. So, I mean, in all honesty, like that doesn't help me at all, right? Like I'm gonna need whatever's in the denominator to come out of the denominator. What I'm doing here is the inverse. What I mean by that is like the opposite of the opposite of division would be multiplication. So if I'm going to multiply this by the denominator so that I can get it out of the denominator, so that I can cancel the denominator, right? Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So I'm also going to multiply this by y minus 8. Okay, so on the left-hand side, I have x times what's in the parentheses. So I'm just going to write x in parentheses, y minus 8, close parentheses, equal. Do you notice how those cancel? Which is like the reason why I multiplied by the denominator, so it would cancel, because that's what happens. So what I have on the left-hand side is just y plus 5. So very important here, I have my x right next to a parenthesis, which implies multiplication. So I need to go ahead and distribute that x into the parentheses. So x times y is just x, y. X times a negative 8 would be a negative 8x. Right-hand side, I have y plus 5. This is where I messed up in the first class. And like literally, it would make sense if someone else also made this mistake. I know I'm trying to solve for y, right? And so what I wanted to do right here is like pull out their common factor, get y. And I realized, well, I went down a rabbit hole for a second, okay? What I need to do to actually solve for one y is get all of my y's together, right? Just like when you're trying to solve any equation, you want to isolate the variable that you're solving for. Isolate means getting it alone, right? So the only way, if I have a y on the left and I have a y on the right, that I'm going to get them alone is to like put them together. So I want to put my y's on one side and I want to put my x's on the other. That's a very important step to solve this correctly, okay? Now, what I mean by that is, okay, I'm gonna kind of do two steps in one here, y'all. I need this negative 8x to move because it has an x. And I need this y to move because I need my y's together. So if I do that, I get, okay, so let me go and do this to really show you. If I'm subtracting it from one side, I'm also subtracting it from the other, right? And if I'm adding 8x here, I'm also adding 8x here. Now what I get here, those cannot be combined. They're not like terms. I just have xy minus y. Those cancel. Equals, those cancel. Those are not like terms. You cannot combine them together. That does not become a 13. You just can't, okay? That is literally just 8x plus 5. Now, do you notice how on the left-hand side, I have my two y variables, like I'm almost there. I need to solve for 1. What you need to notice is that because both of those terms have a y in common, it's their greatest common factor. So you literally, just like when we do the AC method, I can pull that y out. So if I actually pull the y out, what I'm doing is division. X, y divided by y, those y's would cancel, right? And I'm just left with x. Now y divided by y is 1. Signs are different, so it's negative. And then on the right-hand side, I have equal 8x plus 5. Y'all, I'm going to have to come up right here. Okay, so literally last step. I'm trying to solve for one variable, y. It's being multiplied. Yes, it's being multiplied by something. I need to do the inverse. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I need to divide both sides by this, that whole right here, what's in the parentheses. And if I do that, it'll cancel on the left-hand side, and we'll have 8x plus 5 divided by x plus 1 on the right-hand side. That's the inverse. Okay. Y'all, I didn't do problem 14 because there's no need to do problem 14. Okay. I did do problem 15. Where's my paper? For problem 15, I noticed that there is a baseball player making a ton of money, and he was offered to make even more money every single year. And it wants me to specifically find a year of like during his employment, like how much he's going to make during that year, right? Well, I know that yearly he's going to get his normal salary